what your killer main says about you. Please prepare yourself for a brutal truth from a survivor main's point of view. And please don't be shy to let those opinions fly down in the comments below. We're gonna go ahead and start things off with the good and classic Trap Daddy. Trap Daddy tends to get picked quite a bit by new players, so he has a little bit of a bad rep for that. Your average DBD player trying to play as Trapper will not do very good. He's not very easy to play, even though most people think he should be. But for the players out there that have hundreds of hours as just the Trapper, let me tell you, those motherfuckers are frightening as fucking hell. Majority of these guys are really good as other killers. They just got bored of being able to take people down so easily, and they would rather play strategic. Next up, we got the Wraith, or as I like to call him, the Ding Dong Man. You don't see a whole lot of Wraith players anymore because he tends to just feel like an M1 killer. You know, he really doesn't have a whole lot going on unless you have a specific perk build and really good add-ons for him. If you have all that going on, he can actually be fucking frightening because he's so fucking fast. When you run into someone who only plays as this Ding Dong bastard here, let me tell you, it's not going to be a fucking fun time. These fucking guys just are out for blood. They really don't fucking care. They just are gonna try to piss you off. They might even tunnel you. I'm not really sure their intentions, but they're not good. Oh fucking A, the Hillbilly. The Hillbilly reminds me of the Nurse. It's a very difficult power to learn how to use, and it requires patience to learn it. So the players who have mastered it are very, very, very good. These guys are going to have a perfect fucking build that works just for them. They're not all going to be the same. And they're going to have a lot of map awareness. And they're going to cross map fucking smack you with a chainsaw. And you're not going to see it coming. A Hillbilly player that has many, many hours is going to be respectful and non-toxic. You're not going to see tunneling coming out of this guy. By the way, I know I'm trash as the Hillbilly. You don't need to point that out. But you can if you want. The OG Nurse. I'm not even going to play as the Nurse, to be completely honest, just because she's kind of a bitch for me to play as, and it does take a lot of fucking practice and skill to play as her. Okay, before I spill the beans, I'm going to straight up just say hats off to you motherfuckers, because if you have mastered the Nurse, like truly, you're fucking OG, you're good as shit, man. Like, good job, okay? Now, as a survivor main, I truly appreciate you guys when you choose to play as a different fucking killer. Because if you play as the Nurse, we're not going to make it. And that sucks to know. The Hutress. Or, you could call her the Leg. Hutress is an extremely often picked killer. And I think it's straight up just because she's so fucking fun to play. When you get hit by a hatchet and you can't even see the Hutress, I mean, I don't even know whether I should be mad or just straight up confused, because it's pretty fucking impressive. Now, these guys that are basically snipers playing on the Hutress, they're not going to play toxic. They don't need to. They can just take you all out, because they're gonna hit you. They're very confident with their shots. 9 times out of 10, these guys can also jump on any other killer and probably do just as well. They're very, very good players at the game, just in general. These guys make me wish I could just grab a fucking helmet out of a chest and it could just like count as a hit from the fucking hatchet, and it's like, you know, saves you just 1 extra hit. Mr. Mikey Meyers. Majority of the time, Michael is pretty fucking easy to play against, but if he's wearing a hospital gown, you might want to think otherwise. Mikeys tend to keep things interesting. They like to sneak up on your ass and jump scare the living piss out of you. When they're trying to stalk you, they'll put themselves in the creepiest position they can find so that you can also just lose your mind when you finally see him. I feel like their goal is not to win, it's just to scare you. It's really neat to see these players take the actual character from the movies and turn it into a playstyle. And I think we all love the jump scares. It just makes the game a lot more fun for everyone involved. The Doc. If you're picking the Doc, you enjoy being a nuisance to all the survivors. You like annoying them for sure. His ability is very obnoxious for the fact that it interrupts whatever you're trying to do and stops you from dropping pallets, all that bullshit. But majority of the players are not actually perfect at using it. Mr. Hit and Run, the Legion. If they're playing as Frank, they're usually pretty sweaty. It's like a 75% chance that they're going to be at least pretty decent as well. If they're playing as Susie, it's going to be a 100% wild card. You even might have a chance of it being a friendly, but it's not a very high chance. Joey and Julie definitely give off more of like a metal music type fan vibe, and they definitely probably don't play the game very much. My boy, the Ghostface. When you think of a friendly killer, the first one to come to mind is usually going to be Ghostface. But I feel like it's definitely been a dying breed. The friendly killer Ghostface doesn't really pop up nearly as often as it used to. Not only will these guys actually try and jump scare you, but they'll also try to make you laugh, so that always makes the game at least a little more fun. There's always going to be the occasional toxic teabagger, but on a good side, there's going to be an occasional good Ghostface that will actually accept your surrender. But before they accept a surrender, they're definitely going to make sure that each and every one of your survivor teammates are aware that he could have won the match. These players like to win, but 9 times out of 10, they're more in it for fun. Mr. Oni Baloney! I feel like the Oni gets played by people who just don't have the patience to learn the Hillbilly or the Blight. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I, myself, do not want to learn the control of the fucking chainsaw. It's kind of a pain in the ass. And the Demon Dash for the Oni is a hell of a lot easier to control. Oni mains just want to get in, get out. They want to kill you as fast as possible. They mean fucking business. Someone with many hours on the Oni will definitely be able to take out all survivors in one Demon Dash if you're not careful. I will say I have respect for Oni players. I've never ran into one that's toxic and tunnels people, so that's always a plus. But if you decide to be that survivor that's Mr. Clicky, he definitely will use his short temper in turn and tunnel you. Big boy Blight! The few players that have truly mastered wall bouncing as Blight are fucking terrifying to face. Just simple as that. Get these guys on an open map like Coldwind Farm, and shit's gonna be rough for the survivors, I'll tell you what. These players have a shit ton of hours into the game, and they have the patience to learn one of the more difficult killers, making them a very, very tough person to go against. With them having so many hours played in the game, they have a little more respect for the game, therefore they're usually not a toxic person. My hat is definitely off to you guys that play Blight at a professional level, because goddamn, it makes for a fun match. Good old Nemesis. Nemesis players are always fans of Resident Evil, obviously, and I mean, I am myself, so fucking hell yeah. Majority of the times when you run into Nemesis, it's a new player that just simply likes a really good villain. You know what I mean? A really highly popular villain. But if you run into the very, very slim few that have played many hours on him, that tentacle whip is gonna piss you off, and so is Frank. That is what I like to call his zombie. I haven't picked out a zombie name for the female zombie, so if you got some good ones, send it down in the comments below. The Mastermind, or Wesker. I certainly have mixed emotions when it comes to Wesker. Sometimes it's a tryhard, sometimes it's a friendly, sometimes it's just your average player. He truly is usually the definition of a wild card, and it is very common for them to tunnel you if you piss him off in any simple way. It doesn't take much. And I'm not hating on the Weskers, because some of you are actually insanely good and frustrating to face because you're so good. But holy shit, some of you are very toxic. If someone says toxic DBD killer, Wesker is definitely the first one that pops in my mind. I don't know about you guys. You should let me know what you think on that. I will very much admit though, he's actually a pretty fun killer to play as. The brand new killer, the Unknown. This guy's a little too fresh to get a good gauge, since a lot of people are just playing him to try him out. But I have a feeling he's going to fall under that toxic category. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up right here for this video. If your killer was not in this video, it will be in part 2. So please hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.